Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Daily Bone podcast, where we discuss all things crypto market. That includes majors like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana, of course. And also, we'll be talking about meme coins and NFTs. Today, we're going to be discussing last night's Twitter space with Donald Trump and the details surrounding World Liberty Financial as Farokh went down to Mar-a-Lago to interview the president. We're also going to discuss the turmoil surrounding tomorrow's rate cut decisions, as we're seeing mixed opinions on what we were expecting. And we'll talk about another cash raise from MicroStrategy to buy more Bitcoin. Kick Signal, thank you for joining me today. Pretty exciting day. Lot to unpack here. How you feeling today, Sig?
Yeah, feeling good. I've got a lot of energy. I had, you know what, we're going to talk about it, but I listened to all of the Farokh Donald Trump interview at 2x speed because, it's really weird when you're somebody who listens to 2x speed on podcasts and YouTube, because anybody who talks slowly, which I am talking slowly now, you just feel like it's molasses. They're just going so slow. But I managed to rip through it. And the first thing I got to say about that interview is massive shout out to Farokh. I thought he did a phenomenal job of that interview and just representing all of Web3. So I thought it's for what is a continuation of Sideways Summer, we are having like quite a lot of news. Yesterday, DeGods, and this morning on my timeline I saw that Frank DeGods is being potentially sued. I didn't even know if that was real or not real, but somebody wants to bring a civil lawsuit for the amount of money that they've lost because of the new degod token that is coming out. So I feel like there's lots to unpack here, Ray, and at any time we can get into it.
Yeah, before we start off, I want to kind of talk a little bit about Singapore and like the craziness we've seen out there. I don't know if you guys have watched any of the video or seen any of like the timeline talking about what's going on. Like, first thing to unpack is this like crazy Barachain line that stretches like throughout all of this mall. Like, who would have thought this many people are excited about a new L1 coming out in their party?
Wow, that is quite a line. Oh my god, that looks like that looks like a Justin Bieber line or something there. That is very impressive. I mean, Singapore hits different. And look how well behaved everyone is. I feel like if that was anywhere but Singapore, people would be drinking in the line and causing havoc, and locals would be complaining about token 2049 ever happening there. That is the most well-behaved line I've ever seen. But you know what? I love to see it because I don't think we'd see that kind of line at like, say, for example, NFT Paris for Barachain. Not nothing against Barachain, but I think it's a really good sign of how strong the community is out there. But that's wild. That's not as wild as the plane yesterday, but wild enough. Well-behaved Barachainers.
Yeah, another thing that caught my eye. I'm actually kind of pissed about this, that I didn't get included in KOL Awards night with all these other, big names in the space that are up for this. Did you guys see this list?
I saw the controversy around this list. Thread guy would rather be on the Epstein list than this. That's hilarious. Yeah, I saw a lot of people whining and whinging about that, the list of people. Who are they, first of all? They have fake engagement. I think like this kind of stuff, I give credit to stuff like Forbes, 40 under 40, 30 under 30, etc. But I think at this level, at this kind of stuff, if you're a creator out there and you're doing your thing and you think you're doing and you think you're doing well, I just say ignore this kind of stuff. It just doesn't matter. What matters is the quality of the work that you put out on a consistent basis. And over time, like, I think someone like Farokh is such a good example of why lists like this just don't count, because he's been on these types of lists and he has not been on this types of lists. He has been taken down by the space so many times for big things, small things, whatever. But over the long term, what has counted is that his consistency and his contribution to the space got him that interview. And, I am sure there are people from Bloomberg, CNN, and all the traditional media thinking, why, like, who is this guy? Why did he get this interview? And I think what really can sum it up is his consistency to put out content and to contribute to the space. And lists like that, at the end of the day, whether you're on it, whether you think you should be on it, or you don't want to be on it, they just don't count. They don't count over the long term. The quality of your work counts. So I think what's been happening in Singapore over the whole who is this list? Why isn't so and so on it in the long term to the medium term? Pretty much next week doesn't count.
Yeah, man. All I gotta say is after seeing the Bear Chain picture and then the KOL list, I could make a lot more money in this space if I just shut my mouth more, and then speak my mind. Because you gotta tickle people to get get some deals in this space. But here's the thing: even if they pay me money, I wouldn't want to shill some DLR random ass coin, whatever. But yeah, dude, I started my career in affiliate marketing on WickedFire. And so this was back in 2010. I saw the good, the bad, and the ugly. Basically what you're seeing right here, that is what online affiliate marketing, influencers and KOLs were like in 2010. It was let's all go to Vegas and get bottle service and flex and show our watches and all this shit. And then you found out under the hood, these people were not paying bills, massively in debt, right? But you see them at Vegas, they're like, yeah, dude, check out the Rolex and bottle service on the house. Sign up for our service. Yeah, but hey, best of luck to all of them. Yeah, and I agree with Signal. Shout out to Farokh. Absolute Chad. Probably gave a firm handshake to Donald Trump. I'd imagine it was real firm.
Yeah, we'll talk about that a bit later. I definitely have some more to unpack there. We'll get to the weather report in a second, but I just want to let you know that this show is brought to you today in partnership with Stream. We talked a little bit about them yesterday. Let you know we're going to be running some Stream drops over the next couple of weeks so you can stack your points. So Stream is the third Animoca incubated project, not just Animoca backed, but Animoca incubated. Basically, Open Campus and Mochaverse are the only two other Animoca incubated projects. This is sort of the next level of Animoca involvement. If you've seen the success Mochaverse has had, you can understand why we're so excited about this partnership. Stream is basically a universal content layer that goes on top of existing social and video platforms. So right now they're integrating with Twitter Spaces. They have a Google Chrome extension that overlays on the space. It allows you to engage a bit more with your audience. If you're listening in the audience, you get to play some games with the creators. You can interact a bit. Right now we have a whack-a-mole style game and then a trivia game, which I'm going to introduce for the first time here today. We'll do a little live action on that as we're kind of going through the show here. I'll show you what that looks like, but pretty cool stuff coming from Stream. If you want to sign up, you need to go to streamhq.xyz. You can sign up. You can use the code BODOGOS8888, all lowercase, BODOGOS 48. So without further ado, I'm going to do a little bit of trivia here from Stream. I'll show you what that experience looks like. As a player, this will be my first time actually doing this trivia game. So it's going to be interesting to see how I do. I'm going to also pin the link to the game room in Twitter as well as YouTube, so you can participate as well. If you're listening on YouTube, you'll see it as a comment. If you're watching or listening on Twitter, you'll also see it commented and then pinned up to the space. But without further ado, here we go with Bodogo's trivia. What is the total supply of Bodogos? So also you're getting a little bit of alpha here if you're following along, because you're going to be following me and seeing the answers ahead of time. 8701 is the correct answer here. Which of the following is not a regular member of the Daily Bone podcast? You got Pio, Elio Trades, Kix, Signal, or Nick. So this is a tough one here. I'm between Kix, Pio, maybe. I don't know. All right. And the final one. Oh, no. I must have misclicked. I double clicked too quickly. Somehow did not get 100% on the trivia that I created. Anyway, that's what trivia looks like. We're going to have some other interesting interactions with Stream Drop. They're dropping more games. So you're going to have plenty of ways to interact with us. We'll be doing some whack-a-mole throughout the show. Definitely check them out. Streamhq.xyz, code Bodogos8888. All right. Without further ado, who wants the weather report for today? Kick, Signal, Kignal. We can figure it out.
It won't be a Kignal today. We'll do that later in the week. It's just going to be a Signal. So let's get into today's weather report, folks, for Tuesday, 17 September. Over on the crypto roundup, the majors are pretty much even on the day. Bitcoin just over 59,000. Ethereum at 2,300. Ethereum just doesn't seem to be moving. And Solana 132, also not moving much. The leading token among the top 100 coins was FTM, which is up 9% on the day to 1.1 1.5 billion market cap. Over the past 24 hours, top 3 stories. Well, firstly, obviously, Donald Trump and World Liberty Financial Team were interviewed by Farokh last night in Malaga. The non-transferable WFI token was confirmed, and the tokenomics released with 63% available public, 17% earmarked for user rewards, and 20% allocated to the team. So very different to what the traditional media had been advertising. Secondly, we saw some more movement with tomorrow's rate cut predictions as Elizabeth Warren, as Arthur Hayes likes to call her, called for 75 bips a rate cut. PolyMarket odds shifted further with 50 basis points cut, now sitting at 55% favor of a 50 basis point cut. On the other side, BlackRock analysts, though, they are predicting a smaller rate cut than consensus. So will it be BlackRock analysts or PolyMarket correct tomorrow? And then finally, we move over to traditional finance as the Dow Jones hit an all-time new high and finished the day up over 0.5%. Michael Saylor's MicroStrategy also proposed another 700 million raise through convertible senior notes to purchase even more Bitcoin. Is that surprising? No, it's not. But that is all for the weather report. It is back to you folks in the studio.
Great weather report as always, Signal. Lots to unpack there. Why don't we just start right away on the Trump story? Like absolutely like crazy to think that like Farokh and Rug Radio, such like a native like Web3 crypto Twitter platform, got this interview out of like anyone else they could have had. Like that's like the first thing that like kind of stands out to me. And like listening to that space last night, they were all like talking about it like they're like just like regular listeners of like NFT podcasts in the space. So like that was kind of like a cool like one of us moment. I don't know if you have any other highlights. Did you listen to it at all, Kix, or have you been kind of just like following along?
Yeah, I didn't listen to it yet. I did like follow the speech market guys just to see like what was hit and the general idea of the topics. I have done a little bit of looking into this morning on the whole World Liberty finance thing. I'm just trying to get a better understanding of that because it definitely is unusual, you know, like with the token being non-transferable. So I'm trying to like understand the value across the ecosystem.
Yeah, what I've seen people say is like it's going to be like potentially unlocked for trade in the future via like a DAO vote or like potential like changes, which might be interesting. Like I don't think anything's like confirmed, but I saw like speculation around that. What were you gonna say, Sig?
Yeah, so just to go, first of all, what you're saying, that the fact that Farokh got this interview or just, you know, an entity from this space, I think that really was the right move by the Trump team, because I saw a Bloomberg article, I think it was last week, and it read, "Meet the dirtbag of the internet behind Trump's crypto project." They were talking about Chase Hero. I haven't read the whole article because it's blocked on Bloomberg. And you know, if traditional media is always going to have a certain point of view, it makes it very difficult for them to be able to actually give their point of view about crypto. And so they needed to go to an entity that is actually native to the space and will give them a fair opportunity just to be able to voice what they're trying to do. So I can see why they didn't go with CNN, why they didn't go with Bloomberg. And I thought Farokh, I said it at the show, but I thought Farokh did a really phenomenal job in that interview. And he had some really good questions. Some things that sort of stood out to me was, obviously you can tell that Trump has a high level understanding of it. And one of the questions that came from Farokh was, what really made you get into crypto? And he firstly said his NFTs, but secondly, he said his kids. So he saw the enthusiasm from his kids that got him into crypto. And then what, even more was obviously when he dropped his NFTs and probably saw the money just pouring in. You sort of have that aha moment that I think so many of us had when we got into NFTs. And you can really see that for himself. So I thought that was really interesting. Secondly, was the way that the way that he talks about crypto. Somebody in the space said, in Singapore, they talk about crypto as the present, but in the United States, we talk about it as the future. And I thought that the way Trump was articulating his message, along, how he was talking along with AI as well, was that he wants to do something about crypto today. Like not tomorrow, not talking about it, oh, we need to get the regulation in place as if it's something he's going to do it 5 to 10 years from now. even the way he alluded to Gensler and the way the SEC is moving, he was somebody who's like, no, when I get into office, Gensler is going, we need to have the legal framework, we need to have the safeguards in place. It just felt like he wants to take action today on things. So I thought that came across as pretty positive. Another thing was how they spoke about wealth creation. So actually using crypto for wealth creation. You can tell him and his sons really do know what they are talking about, that they actually are participants in the space. My only sort of how can I say, the red flag about this is that Trump, he definitely understands crypto at a high level, but not in the trenches as much as his kids. And so this project will really come down to how do they assemble the team? Who will be part of this team for this project? And I think that's where it lies. You have key man risk in this, that if essentially bad actors or people who don't have the best interests at heart are hired into this team, it might be difficult for somebody who does not have deep knowledge of the space to be able to evaluate whether this is a good actor or a bad actor. So it will really come down to, yes, Trump's name will be on this. Yes, his sons will be on this. But I think the hiring of the team and how they market this has, there is risk that they might not have the best people on there, because they say they want to shine a light onto crypto. I just hope it's a good light, because they can see that there's already a bad light on crypto, and their team have an opportunity to make it a good light. But that will only come if they hire a good team. So that's kind of like what I took away from the interview. But overall, I thought it was a good 2.5 hours of my time. I'm glad I listened to it.
Yeah, I definitely see like there is a good amount of execution risk. We talked about this yesterday, and I think that like I'm not the team doesn't give me like faith, as opposed to like we're starting off on shaky grounds with the operations team essentially being the team behind Doe Finance, which was hacked and now has stopped operation. That's concerning. Barron Trump at 18 years old as the DeFi visionary, probably just like a token position, but like I don't know if the visionary behind your world changing project is an 18-year-old at this point. But I think what this does give at least is like,
is there like a CEO? Is there like a leader? They all just seem to be like,
well, Chief Crypto. That's Donald Trump here.
But he's an advocate. Say like you know.
Chief Crypto. Yeah, I guess Chief Crypto Advocate. Yeah. There's no fall guy essentially.
There's no fall guy. That seems like a rookie mistake by the Trumps.
Yeah. But the thing is, like, so you look at this, you look at this NFT project, you look at this, like, you just know that like if there is a Trump victory and there's a Trump White House, you're going to like, you're going to see things like this be legitimized, like NFT projects. You're going to see like sweeping deregulation across the space. I believe you're not going to see him coming at, DeFi projects, NFT projects, being that like he personally is now 4 NFT projects and 1 DeFi project under his belt. I just think that's like the key silver lining in case there is a storm with whatever this ends up being.
Yeah. So, the old saying, if a tree falls in the woods and there's no one there to hear it, is the tree even real? Right. If you own a crypto token, but you can't even trade it, is it even real? You know what I mean? Can there even be a market cap on something that can't be traded? Because the market cap is defined by, the market.
But I'm pretty sure it's non-transferable now, just simply because they probably don't want the SEC on their back at this point in time.
Until Trump can fire Gary Gensler.
Basically.
And then be like, yo, we're flipping the switch on this shit. Time to cook.
I mean, his NFTs are non-transferable as well. So I think they're probably just trying to keep their hands completely clean on this until Trump's in power and he can actually put in place whatever he wants to put in place. But it's quite clear at this stage that similar to the NFTs, that look at FlyFish Club. FlyFish Club just had to settle an SEC fine of about, I think it was like $750,000 for raising 14 million when they issued the FlyFish token. So this was Gary Vaynerchuk's project, and this is everything that he has, everything the project has to do. So it's like, the last thing that Trump personally wants after nearly being assassinated, having several lawsuits, basically being going after as a criminal, is having the SEC also go after him. So I think the way that they are initially launching this project is just to protect themselves.
Okay, I hate to pivot, but this FlyFish thing, what did the SEC say that they did wrong?
They issued securities. They said that the FlyFish team issued securities to investors, and investors bought it because they thought the price would go up. So they're basically going after them for it being a security. There you go. So they settled, for $750,000. I don't even know if Nick has been to this restaurant yet. I have no idea, but I know
it's opening in October.
So it's opening in October. Okay.
Yeah.
So about 5 years.
Look, that phrase to me is just ludicrous. Gave NFT purchasers a reasonable expectation of profit. It would make sense if they gave NFT purchasers a reasonable expectation of profit. Like, hey, if we make profit in the restaurant, y'all gonna get some. That's a reasonable expectation of profit. I would love to see, like, what are they saying, that they thought that the price of the token would go up if the restaurant ever even launched?
No, so that's.
These guys are lunatics. They all need to be fired and canned. This is like peak, bureaucracy behavior, where it's just they go around and they just find problems. Okay, have you ever find a government agency that solved the problem they were created for, and then they disbanded? No, it's an oxymoron. That's just ludicrous to me. I'm just sorry, out of all the things, like, you could say FlyFish, I don't think they did anything wrong, but I'm saying you could at least make an argument. You could say, like, they defrauded or misled people. Those kind of things would make sense. But to say that there was, like, a reasonable expectation of profit, you bought the FlyFish thing so you could go eat sushi at the restaurant for free. Like, where is the expectation of profit, dude? That's just absolutely absurd.
I minted the FlyFish Club token because I knew it was going to be worth more to flip the NFT. That's what I did.
Well, you're allowed to do that, right? But they didn't tell you that when you minted. They weren't like, hey, dude, you can be all flip this for 50%, dude.
Yeah, but Kicks, the sushi isn't free either. You have the NFT, but you're still paying for your sushi when you go there. I think if they could go
No, it's free sushi.
I don't think so. It's a restaurant. I don't think it's free sushi. I'm pretty sure it's not.
No,
and
look,
then they have another membership now. Okay, so this is interesting.
Yeah, membership. Yeah.
Another membership for people after they raise the 14 million. I'd be going after them for just taking so bloody long to open. Like, that's what if I bought that in 2021 and I can't eat until October, I mean, I wouldn't be so happy. But hey, Nick will probably go, considering he actually has the NFT. But yeah, we've completely pivoted here over to this piece of news. But I can't even remember what we were talking about on Trump, but like, the idea is the SEC is going to go after entities, easy entities to go after, settle it, get 750,000 stoner cats they went after as well, fine them as well. It's basically just printing money and a profit center right now for the SEC to go after all these NFT projects. And under Gensler, he can turn around and say, look, this is how much money I brought in going after firms which have defrauded investors, etc. It's still early days. And I think this goes back to what Trump was saying in a space yesterday, that safeguards and legal frameworks need to be there so that companies can actually settle in the US and know how to operate.
Just to hop in real quick, because a guy named StockPix, read the article, Kicks, you sound dumb. Dude, your name's StockPix. I bet you don't make any money in the stock market. I bet you that's why you're making YouTube videos. But let's read the article that you said I didn't read, man. SEC commissioners Pierce and Ueda issued a dissenting opinion saying that they didn't need the SEC didn't need to be involved in this. So you literally have two people on the SEC commission saying that this is ludicrous. But so why don't you read the article, tough guy?
StockPix got Kicks riled up this morning. The one thing that's like interesting to me, like one of the big things I think with like saying you can make profit was like leasing the NFTs for membership. But like now that they're selling like fiat membership, it's not like it's like a limited thing anymore. Like, who's gonna like lease
I can lease my
Oh
Is,
no,
X has
the
got like
mid-sentence is
a
gone.
right hook toddler cry. But anyway, what I'm so surprised about is that they raised 14 million, but then they seem to have, this looks like new membership that has coming in. They've got the junior under 30, they've got the standard and a standard spouse. So if you're under 30, you get, it's the initiation fee is $700. Then you have an annual member dues of $2,300. The standard individual is 1,005. So basically, your standard, I'm over 30. So the standard individual, that's what I'll be going for. So I'm basically going to be spending, about $5,000 to join this club. Hopefully, if you have the NFT, you don't have to pay that. But I don't know. It feels like the project just kind of got derailed from the initial vision. It doesn't feel like they had a solid plan back there.
I think they didn't have a plan. They had a plan to make the money, and then they had to take the money and actually execute a plan. They're like, oh shit, we got to build a sushi restaurant in New York City. They probably spent all their money just on rent when they were building it for the 2 years. But yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Yeah, you can lease them to make money. Guess what? You can lease your Magic the Gathering cards to someone to go play in a tournament. That's what I'm saying. All of these arguments are just like ludicrous and stupid because you can apply them to other situations. Guess what, dude? You can buy a pair of rare shoes and you can tell your friend if you want to wear it, it's $500 to wear it. That doesn't make the shoes a security. It's absurd. It takes it back to when they were in Congress and they couldn't answer whether they could say a Pokemon card in real life wasn't a security, but if it was on the blockchain, they couldn't answer whether it was a security or not. This is what we're dealing with, this level of absurdity. Sorry to derail it, man, but it's just ridiculous. Hopefully Trump wins because then he can get rid of all this ludicrous, because I don't think it's going to go away if Kamala wins. But and then also we can all buy this World Liberty Finance token and then just like make 100x, right? That's how it's going to work. If we buy this and he wins, we get 100x.
I'm wondering what's going to happen with the pre-sale there. Like, am I taking part in that pre-sale? Like, is it just like a huge speculation that it's tradable later? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, I don't know, man. Here's the thing. If you don't participate in it, you can't buy it on secondary because it's non-transferable. So you're either in for Valhalla or you just got to sit on the sidelines for the whole time. You're in and you're out. I don't know, man. If they gave me a percentage of how much cream they were taking off the top versus how much was going into building the project, maybe I'd jump in, but those numbers are vague. So I don't know if I want to, participate in like, here's $50 million. Cool. We're just going to take 25 million off the top and we'll put the rest in the treasury. But maybe they'll give some more clarity on those numbers.
Yeah. Yep. Agreed. And one last bow on the like FlyFish Club. Like, it's so odd to like make your business model around like an NFT membership where you raise initially, and then like you're cutting off your potential business in New York City. You're like, all right, anyone who has this NFT can come. There's 1,000 of them, and like that's your client base in New York City. And like everyone's like, oh, this makes sense. This will be a perfectly normal operating model, and it's going to be the future of restaurants. It just absolutely bonkers to me that like you like reduce your potential profit by like limiting it with an NFT raise. So just wild stuff there. But let's pivot over to the rate decision tomorrow. We saw Elizabeth Warren call for a 0.75, 75 basis point cut. We saw some movement on the PolyMarket side for the 50 bips rate cut, move all the way over 50%. We're up to we peaked at like 60, right around 55 now. I think we talked about it yesterday. It's like really like anyone's guess at this point. Like Kicks, I know you've had a pretty consistent take on rate cuts and what they mean for crypto. Any chance you can kind of run back like your thoughts on rate cuts and like how it's going to affect the crypto market? I know many people are calling it for it to be quite bullish, but I know you kind of have like an opposite take there.
Yeah, I mean, nothing is a guarantee based off of, past data, past evidence, whatever. First of all, it's funny. Mark Andreessen, one of the founders of A16Z, has been retweeting like stuff that's like so dumb that he wants them to actually do it. So like he quote tweeted the Elizabeth Warren letter asking for the 75-point basis cut. And he's like, I too agree with this. This is a fantastic idea. Go ahead with it. Basically meaning she has no clue what she's talking about because the 75 basis point cut would just eviscerate the market because it would just show that there's absolute panic over what's going to happen going forward. So he's like, yeah, please go ahead and do that. That's not going to help your chances in November. But I saw someone say something that I thought was pretty smart, which is like 25 basis points, probably bullish, 50 basis points, neutral to slightly bearish. Anything above that looks scary. Then you have people like JP Morgan out there saying, he's like, JP Morgan's like, don't expect much from the stock market over the next decade. And Jamie Dimon specifically said he thought there's going to be a big, crash ahead. Who knows? People say all sorts of stuff. They could just be getting you to buy the dip or whatever. Generally, when people say interest cut rates are bullish, they're talking about when interest rates are already low and you're cutting already low interest rates down to like zero, right? So that's like what we saw in 2019 when Trump threatened to fire Jerome Powell if he didn't cut rates. Stock market was like bleeding. This was either 2018 or 2019. Stock market started bleeding. I think it even had like a 25% dip. And then they cut rates and then it went to the moon. Generally, when rates are this high, like 2008, 2000, when they start cutting, it can be the sign of a top. But in terms of like how much they're cutting, what that signals. Also, if you look it up, so people are saying 50 basis points means that they were like behind or their timing was off or whatever. If you do look at the data, it's fairly often they'll cut 50 when they start cutting. I don't think it necessarily, I think it's like a causation correlation thing, meaning that when you're higher up and you start cutting, right, you're more likely maybe to cut 50 points than 25. And also sometimes when rates are that high and you start cutting, it's because there's a meltdown about to happen or whatever. But I think it's causation, not correlation. Point being, if the economy, because some people are show data indicators that say the economy is really strong. If the economy is really strong and we cut 50 basis points, yes, that's net bullish. Where rate cuts are net bearish is what you're pulling up on the screen, which is when you have a big melt up. They start cutting the rates because they're seeing frothiness or economic weakness, and then it rolls over. But that doesn't mean, look, like the Bitcoin cycle was like identical for 3 cycles in a row. This 4th cycle, it's no longer worked, right? You can't assume that everything is just going to work the same way it did in the past, right? So we could cut and we could go up into the election, and then we could dump or we could chop, right? Like you don't really know. I do know that smart people out there, smart traders out there, aren't looking at this cut coming up and being like, Valhalla to the moon, I'm leverage longing, right? Like people are saying stuff like, maybe I'm cautiously optimistic. Cautiously optimistic means I have money on the long. I probably also have cash. So if it does pull back in a meaningful way, I'm not in a panic and I have an opportunity to buy. So I think the smart people that are bullish are probably saying they're cautiously optimistic. The smart people that are bearish are probably saying they're cautiously bearish because no one fucking knows about the future. But anything above 50, I mean, that would be highly unusual. That would be panic in the streets. I'd have to ask ChatGPT, but I only think that they've cut above 50 when it's like, banks are collapsing kind of shit.
Yeah. You go ahead.
So go on, Ray.
No, you got it. You got to go first.
No, I don't think they're going to cut above 50. They're definitely not going to do 75. And I don't even think they're going to do 50. I really do think it's going to be 25. I think going into the election in these last sort of 2 months, it's really going to be about what is the narrative going in and how do voters feel. And voters are not going to feel, richer or wealthier over the next 2 months just because interest rates have cut down. And I don't think that's going to swing the election. At the end of the day, I think people have already voted who they're going to vote for. But I think what will make the difference is that right now with like at a 25% basis point cut, I think it gives the Democrats more flexibility around what they want the narrative to be. If we go back to when they had the debate, yes, they talked about the economy, but they weren't talking about rate cuts. They weren't, they weren't like, even the word inflation didn't come up that many times. If I remember, I think it came up more than 5 times. I'm having to think about the PolyMarket bets, but what Trump was talking about was the border. What Harris was talking about was avoiding anything to do with the border. Like they have certain topics of contention, and talking about inflation and interest rates just didn't really come up that much. So I think going into these last 2 months, whether it's 25 basis points or 50 basis points, the Democrats are going to spin whatever story they want to spin about having a strong economy going into November. Republicans obviously say that is not the case, but I think it's going to be 25% basis points really going into these last 2 months. And then the big cut, if it does happen, will be in October, because there'll be a recency bias for voters in October rather than in November. Sorry, in October rather than in September. I mean, Ray, what do you think?
I agree that like it really hasn't been like a huge platform. I know Kamala's been talking about like inflation at the grocery store and price gouging, but they really haven't like hammered home on the economy as much as opposed to some of these bigger wedge issues like the border. Like really, yeah, like it just seems like it's kind of fallen by the wayside. I agree with what you're saying there. I think we see a 50 basis point cut. I think that we just continue to chop until the election. I think that the election is really just kind of driving everything. I think outside of like a crazy rate cut like kicks out of 75, I think we just continue to chop. Markets hate uncertainty. I think either way with the election, if it's Kamala or Trump, I think we're going to see the cycle begin to tick up a bit if we don't see it like a little bit sooner in October, like following past cycles. But we were looking at the rate cuts and we're talking about politics. I figured why not bring up a little Trump word market action here on PolyMarket for today. Kix, have you talked to Tyriel at all about this one? It seems like Trump's becoming less of a yes man.
I have lately. Yeah. He was hitting big on the nose. I have not. He's a West Coast guy. First of all, holy crap, there's a lot of words on here. That's a ton. Yeah, I mean, like he's becoming more of a no guy too, because of like most of these things they're slapping. Most of the common things they're slapping like 3+ times, right, or like 15+ times. But what? It's a town hall. What is the context?
Town hall, Flint, Michigan.
Town hall, Flint, Michigan.
So nothing.
What
about
do they do in
Flint,
here. Michigan? They make cars there.
Well, they had that big issue with the contaminated water.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. Drink Dasani. Figure it out. Let's see. Trump, Flint.
Maybe hit some fake news about like people are calling the situation in Flint fake news. Maybe that's an option.
Yeah, but fake news 3+ times. I don't know. Apparently yesterday he hit AK-47.
Yeah, I believe he did too. I think he said like the Secret Service
an AK-47. Yeah, I need some time before actually making any. Taylor Swift is funny. This must have just gone up because, like, look, that's a 20-cent spread there. Not much bet on it so far. But yeah, I would need some time to look into it a little bit more details. But I do know Springfield. Is Springfield on there? Springfield definitely hit yesterday, I think.
Yeah, I believe it did. So yesterday was interesting because it was like pretty short. It was almost like Farokh interviewed him on the assassinations and like briefly touched in on crypto. And then that was it. And then he like bounced for the rest of the.
What was the total length?
I want to say Trump was on there for like, I don't know, like 20, 25 minutes. It was more like he was a keynote speaker, get him for 20, 25 minutes. And then the rest of the guys, they actually did the majority.
Gotcha. Okay.
2.5 hours.
Gotcha. So that was like a format kind of thing where once again, he's the what is he, the crypto advocate? What do they call him? The chief crypto advocate. So
Yeah.
they got the chief crypto advocate in there for 20 years or 20 minutes. Yeah, so this one would be a lot longer. But yeah, this is great. Pull this up. Yeah, so look at the nose, Bitcoin. I did, dude. Who was? Oh my gosh, man! There's still so much stupid money on these markets, dude. I don't know why you take it Bitcoin 5+ times. Yes.
Is everyone just like hammering the yeses here too?
So Conrad Kamala, he said he calls her Conrad, but he didn't phrase it. He didn't say Conrad Kamala. But NFT hit. That's a good one. Retired, man. I'm just shocked that's even a word to choose. Yeah, look at that. NFT down in the 20s, 30s. Great value pickup there. And he has 4 collections, and then Farokh being a big NFT guy, right? You got to think that he got teed up there. So Baron was a yes. Also low.
Yeah, second thought, like thinking about this space, should have known. Like a lot of these seem obvious. I mean, I guess that's hindsight for you, but
yeah, like why is he going to talk Solana?
Yeah, no reason.
But what you don't know is like, oh, is Farokh going to tee him up with a question like, hey, do you trade any Solana meme coins? But doesn't necessarily mean that they're gonna kick it back. No mention of Rug, so he didn't say, "Oh, I love you guys at Rug Radio. You're great guys, great making money and talking great about me, and we're gonna DJT." Nope. Milady, no. Like, what the fuck, Milady?
I don't remember him saying Elon.
He did. He said, Elon Musk, great friend of mine, great man. He's endorsed me for president.
The listing friend segment of his speech.
It's always very obvious in hindsight, but when you're actually listening to it, the thing, having now heard how Trump thinks about crypto, if I was looking at anything which is outside of him speaking to a native media company, like any general town hall in Massachusetts or any of the states, I would just not include crypto. It's not really on his key agenda. Like for him, it's really going to be border, gangs, criminals, anything like that. You would want to bet yes, but the whole crypto, Bitcoin, NFT, anything like that, I would stay far from it and be betting no. It's not in his natural vernacular, let's just say. So it kind of has to be teed up as this is going to be the topic of discussion.
So you don't think today at Flint he's going to say like, last night just flew in from Mar-a-Lago where I talked about the crypto and the Bitcoin.
No, I don't think he's going to do that.
Dude, he never mentions crypto Bitcoin. This is just free money every single time. Also, shout out to Sean. He said, my fantasy team went crazy. Alvin Kamara, 44 points. Team name, Conrad Kamara. That's funny. I'm not good at team names, except when Young Koo kicked 9 points yesterday. Now I got a funny name, but it's not appropriate. But if we are looking at these picks, I still got no idea, but I think there could be more on the nose for sure. Crypto Bitcoin, no. Fake news 3+ times. That's a tricky one, being in Flint, right? Because he could somehow play some fake news around like it not being that big of a deal. Does he mention AK-47? As we've talked about with him before, he'll say things 3 speeches in a row, then drop them, never see him again. Like Drill Baby Drill's not even on this. You know what I mean? So I don't know. 3x on him not saying AK-47. I'd have to look at the rules. Like, can he say AK? Is that a no still? Can he say? Yeah. So you have to say AK-47. Like that no's a little bit juicy for me. Call it a rifle, can call it an AK, call it a, you know what? I think that they'd probably like AK instead of assault rifle due to, people trying to ban the guns and everything. That's probably a intentional use of vernacular. Mexican Crips coming in and saying it's an SKS with an AK style mag. Just a little clarification there. Love it, dude. You must either shoot a lot of guns or play tactical shooter video games like me. Little PUBG guy out there or something.
Kicks, I was going to ask, is there anything there that you see undervalued? Because I saw the handshake as undervalued. When it was at 30%, I was like, that's undervalued on the handshake when they did the debate. Is there anything similar here that you see is undervalued as that's pretty obvious?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's definitely interesting ones on like the no side. I would just like when I have ideas, the nice thing is that Tyrael will literally be like, I'll be like, hey, I like this. And then he'll give me like facts that either like can make me be like, this is a dumb idea or I like it. Right. So if I'm like, oh, I like Haitian, no, he'll be like, he said Haitian 7 times at the last rally. And I'll be like, okay, maybe I don't love the no just as much. But like that, like the Haitian no thing, kind of interesting to me because I would just think that he would want to start to kind of distance himself from, not distance himself, but move on from that and not continue to bring up that topic over and over and over and over again. I think that that was an isolated incident with Springfield where he could talk about during the debate. After the debate, of course, he's going to follow through on it a few times, but like I would see him just talking more about illegal immigration, illegal aliens. So you know that's an interesting no. Oh, where are we going, buddy?
Flint to Springfield's not far.
Mm.
A 3-hour
that
drive.
changes things. That see this? Ray, good researcher here. He's given us a proximity distance. 4 hours, 20 minutes. What's the Springfield? Yes. Is it in the 70s?
81.
81.
I'm going to say no on the Haitian.
You take Haitian.
I know. I'm saying no on the Haitian. And I think he will, when he talks about the border stuff again, he's going to go in the direction of Venezuela. And he's done that several times. And he's talking about the Venezuelan gangs and the bad people coming over the border. They're just letting everyone in. That's what he's going to do. I would follow you on the Haitian and I would do a no.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't mind the no at all. Especially Kodak Black, big fan of Trump, also a Haitian. So he's probably thinking, hey, dude, like, I need to stop bringing up the Haitians. I got Kodak Black and a bunch of awesome Haitians in Florida. They're going to help me win Florida. I got to be, maybe he comes out and supports the Haitians, and he does say it. Who knows? Border 15 plus times, Flint, Michigan. I hate the 15 plus times because it's just so sweaty. It's not a lot of fun.
I'm saying no. And the reason why I'm saying no is I think you said it last week, Kix, that he had not said border. I think he got like over 50% of the way in the debate. He had not said border, or he had, but maybe 3 times. And then Kamala managed to like divert his attention.
She stuffed him at the board. He went up for a layup. She was like, "Get out of my zone! Get out of here!"
The thing is, though, when he starts rattling off those borders, he did like 6 of them in like 2 sentences.
We got to protect the border. I love the border. I actually like to go to Barnes and Nobles and look at the border of the books. There's 4 borders. There's the top left border, the top right, the bottom, and the bottom right border.
Oh, you know what? I wish China wasn't there. China or Chinese. He always brings up China. Is China on there?
It normally
is. No, it's
dude,
not.
I got to talk to the PolyMarket interns. It's like these guys like show up. It's like, you know, what the Prestige, the movie where it's the magicians and he has a twin, right?
Yeah.
That's what it feels like. That's what the speech markets feel like. Is it feels like a different intern comes in, like the intern's twin brother comes in one day and just forgets. Oh, it is on here. Okay.
Oh, China, great. You know what? I would take China. Yesterday, he brought up China several times in the context of economy, in context of crypto. But then he was like, my daughter, I can't do an impression. Probably one of the few people I can't. But he was saying that his daughter Ivanka, her daughter, speaks Chinese, and they had a nanny. She was Chinese. She was from China, spoke Chinese, and that little girl now speaks Chinese and is fluent when she goes to China.
Smart
and so you have
as hell.
Smart as hell. So you have these weird contexts where China just comes up. So I would take the bet on China 5 times.
Because Trump respects China. I think that's why he's fixated on. Because as a businessman, I think he respects their prowess at doing shit. Oh, Chris, I love it, dude.
It's essentially
yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's how you get 7 borders in 30 words.
All right, we're gonna move on from PolyMarket here. We're gonna go over to DeGods in a minute, but I'm just gonna share another stream drop from our partner Stream. Stream is Animoca incubated. Only the third Animoca incubated project out there. Most recent one was Mochaverse. You saw how that did. Basically, it's a universal layer that's going to be powering the future of content. So essentially, it's an overlay on Twitter Spaces. They're going to be moving over to other platforms such as YouTube, Twitch eventually. Right now, it's in its early phase. So like this is like when you hear about getting in early, like this is when you do it. You download the extension, you play along. It's still in the beta, like early access phase. You can join right now at streamhq.xyz. You can use the code Bodogos8888. That's Bodogos, all lowercase with 4 8s. And then you can participate. We have the stream drop pinned to the Twitter space. The game room is also commented in the YouTube chat if you want to follow along there. I'm running these in the background throughout the entire show. It's basically a whack-a-mole style game, which I am terrible at when I'm talking and playing live. I can never get a perfect score, but essentially you're just clicking a couple buttons, you're earning points, and those points are going to be used for future rewards. And if you are like me and you've been in this space and you see what Animoca projects have done in the past, you're going to want some of these future rewards. So check it out, streamhq.xyz, code Bodogos8888. Follow along on the space. I'll be launching these throughout the remainder of the show. And check them out. But we'll be moving on now. We're going to talk about degods. The degod token is struggling a little bit after just 24 hours since we talked about it yesterday. I don't know if you guys have checked this out at all, but we see 10 to 20% drops across the NFT collection floors. The token's down to a $65 million market cap. We've recovered like a little bit, but like we got down like almost below 60 here. Have you been following along at the price action at all, Sig?
I haven't been following along with the specific price action. I knew it had gone down, but I believe after reading that tweet about wanting to sue Frank degod in a civil lawsuit because of financial losses, which is, I mean, we're seeing pigs flying. We're seeing a lot of different things in this space. I actually can't believe that a group of people think that they can sue him for financial losses because of this well, I know fractionalization. Let's call it fractionalization, Regs. I know you're going to come at me if I say 404s for this fractionalization. Is just absolutely wild because, I mean, at the end of the day, you got to take responsibility for the assets that you have in this space. And if you decide to have stayed with these assets and bought them, I mean, bringing a lawsuit, I'm just like, don't you have other better things to do? Anyway, I don't know how real this is. He says that he has 300 signatures already. I think this story will just blow over like everything else in the next couple of days. But the degod's token, I kind of think it's one of those that's just interesting to hold in the portfolio as a swing trade, because Frank will obviously have tricks up his sleeve over the coming months. I don't think he only has merch as the only trick. If that was it, then that would be very, very disappointing. I hope he has other things to come in the next sort of 3 to 6 months. So I think we're going to see swings on it. Much like how the X copy flies. I know it's not related, but it is one of those adjacent tokens to have in sort of like the meme coin portfolio, something that swings when you see momentum on X copy's work, and then has a very hard sell-off. Ray, you brought this up as a potential trade last week, and you were correct on that. So with degods, I put it in a lane of just having allocation to it and swing trading it. I think it will recover from this sell-off pretty much by next week. But let's see. I would hold this degods token, and I would just ignore these sort of. It probably should hold a market cap of anywhere between, let's say, I want to say like a range of 40 to 80 million, let's say, over the next coming weeks. And when we do the meme coin challenge, Ray, on Monday, I believe it is, I will be including the degod token.
Oh, wow. Like pre-calling it. I love it.
Oh, shit.
Oh, shit. Exactly.
It's interesting you brought up flies. I might buy here. I brought it up last week as a trade right around this 800K mark when we saw X copies. It ran up to, I think it actually wicked even higher. But I kind of like it around this $1 million mark. I think I might, after the show, I might actually buy it, because I was kind of pissed I didn't get in it when I called it around here. But I think I'm gonna buy it. I think X copy continues to heat up, and it's just a beta play. beta play to that.
I love the way that you think.
Yeah, I just have to make the play now, though. I'm going to forget about it by the time we're finished this show. Do you guys know what the initial supply of degods and Utes were by any chance, Sig? Was it just 5K of degods? I'm trying to get a handle on what's been burned.
I can't remember what the initial supplies were on either of the collections. No, I can't. I just think that the way they have done the Utes thing to basically be able to fractionalize the degod, but the Utes get burnt, it's just a very tidy way of getting rid of assets in a collection. I think it's really, really smart. And yes, it's controversial. And I wouldn't want to be holding a Ute at this moment in time. But you kind of get rid of the dead bodies. You just move them and you hide them, and no one's going to come looking for them because they're going to be burnt and gone forever. And I think there's several collections out there that if they could, they would want to get rid of their secondary and tertiary collections. I really think they would. They probably think they are a massive headache because you have the main holders, in the chat complaining about price go up, but then you have people who hold assets which are worth a fraction of what the main collection is, and probably bitch and moan more than the people who hold the most expensive assets. So by getting rid of that, you just clean a collection and then you centralize it and do all the marketing, all the referencing around one collection. So I think, back in 2021, 2022, many NFT founders got a little bit excited and followed Bored Ape Yacht Club by introducing more collections. And this is why so many of ththese projects have such large ecosystems. But you can see that what they want to do is just narrow everything, or in fact, just forget about everything and say, look at what Doodle's done. They don't really talk about themselves in the NFT project kind of way. So it's almost as if anything secondary there, like the assets in their ecosystem, which were over on Flow but have now moved, they probably want to get rid of those as well. So I really like how Frank has moved the bodies on this.
Yeah, I saw this post yesterday after the burn. Someone bought a 1-of-1 U for $260,000 10 days ago ahead of this change, which is pretty wild, especially because rarity is not figured into the burn. So you're basically,
but also like, why would you do that?
Yeah, there's a lot of questions. I think
in 2021, trust me, I'd kind of get it a little bit. In 2021,
in 2021, you're paying like $260K in gas.
Was $250,000. Yeah, maybe buying a super rare in another project. Go for it. It's 2024. Why the fuck are you buying something? I don't even believe that's real. Go ahead and say it.
I don't think it's real. I don't think it's real either. I mean, yeah.
I don't believe it.
No, you're either
buying it. I know when it's real or not.
Well, you're either buying it on inside information that you think something is going to happen, or it's wash trading. I don't think people are just buying rare Utes like that. I really don't. I really, really don't. And the people who spent 0.33 on, a Bitcoin on a degod over on Ordinals. I mean, I think actually that's the toughest pill to swallow. I would think because that it was so recent and it just happened this year, and now that collection is basic. I mean, it's still there, but it doesn't have.
Hey, he pumped them off the floor. Isn't that what everyone wants, right?
Yeah, that is exactly what everyone wants. But if I was holding a degod Ordinal, I'd be pissed. I would be.
Oh, for
really
sure.
annoyed.
But I mean, you also bought a degod Ordinal. You should be pissed at yourself, right?
Ouch. Kicks is coming out.
Trust me, my Ordinals are in the dump, dude. I'm like, it's self-flagellation. What do they call it? What's that sect of Catholics do?
Yeah.
Opus Dei. Little Opus Dei action.
Yeah, I'm still holding my little Pizza Ninja. It's been one of the few assets it's like done like fairly well. I think it's still like 4x from mint. These things are terrific.
What I like to do is I like to go back and just imagine if I had sold some of my things at the peak of the top, and then think about how much it would be in Bitcoin.
I don't. It gives me acid reflux, and I think about how much money I've lost in this space. I'm just like, oh, better call my therapist. This isn't a good place to put myself.
Let's just say I'm really rooting on Ordinals going, having another run. I'd love another, let's look for a run in like 2028.
Yeah, I need that. I need that, but with
2028.
runes.
Runes,
30.
oh
Look
God.
at this 30-day runes like price action.
Yeah,
That makes you
runes.
down 30 to 40%.
I mean, tough, man. It's tough. Runes along with lots of other NFT assets are going to need a Hail Mary momentum Bitcoin move in order for everything to come back. But yeah, I mean, we all take financial responsibility. We all get acid reflux, and we all move on so that we can hope that our bags pump when Trump gets elected.
Got a good question from Alfalfa here for kicks. What were the 3 biggest things you wish you sold?
Luckily for me, or maybe not so luckily, I usually sell too early. So I have more pain from selling too early than not selling, but definitely the Moonbird. Probably not immediately flooring all of my property NFTs after we had an interview with their team on the Nifty portal. Because after that interview, I was like, oh my God, dude, this is not going to work out. But I felt weird dumping all of my assets after having an interview with them. Let's see. Maybe my PXN bag. That was like a 40K to 4K after the whole Luna meltdown. Yeah, those are my 3.
I've got 2 regrets that were like not great trades. And they're both early sales actually. So one was selling like Azuki at like 4 after I minted 3, selling around 4. Got completely out there. I mean, profit is profit. And another one was selling a worldwide Webland penthouse for like less than 10 ETH. And these things ran up. You remember these things?
Yeah.
Worldwide.
Yeah, you're not even playing the game right. You're doing what I'm saying, which is you're saying you sold too early. Not that you wish you sold. Those things ran, dude. Those things ran.
63 ETH. Just like could have it.
I still attest to the fact, even though that it was a complete balloon of hot air, trading the metaverse assets was fun, dude. Like I remember at one point in time, like spending 2 ETH for a sandbox 1x1 plot. Basically a Minecraft server that like 4-year-olds start up for free. I paid, $4,000 for, but because it was next to Snoop Dogg. Why not? Right? That's a high value asset right there. You can party right next to Snoop Dogg. Can you buy somewhere? Can you get the house next to Snoop Dogg's house in real life for $4,000? No. Will he ever be at his sandbox plot? No. Maybe like an NPC version of him.
I'm getting flashbacks just looking at this this map.
It was a good time to be alive, dude. They had.
Where was he? Wasn't he like around this
top right? I want to say maybe not. He look at Seed Phrase still over there. Yeah. Great time to be alive. Just theory crafting about locations and trying to make 3x3 plots that you could sell. Man, yeah, just to think about a 9 plots, a 3x3, so a square at the Pico top of the markets was going for $100K a pop, dude. $100K a pop for a 3x3.
And then you break up
for a fucking. You couldn't even go on your land, dude. You were buying a square. But if you had a 3x3, you could put a picture on your squares, guys. You could put a picture on it. $100K a pop, man.
Oh my gosh. Just reminds you when projects used to say that they had land in Sandbox and it would actually add value to the price. And then actually kicks. I remember when you made really good money on Metaverse Land, and probably was the last time, was when
I made really good money. Facts.
When it was when Facebook changed their name to Meta. And you, for some reason, had a whole bunch of positions in the Metaverse Land. But I think you took the positions after Facebook changed to Meta, and then they ran.
I was real close to hitting retirement money on the Meta. If I can, so when I minted Mutant Ape Yacht Club, and everyone knows me, I sell too early. So I mint them, They immediately 2.5x in price. I'm like, I should just sell them right here. And someone from the universe, God, whatever, an ancestor or relative said, don't sell. In my brain, I didn't sell. And I hit an ultra rare, sold it for 88.8 ETH. I got a $200 bottle of champagne, wore a robe all day. It was a Sunday. I'm just drinking right out of the champagne bottle. Like, this is the best ever. And then I was like, okay, what's the next play? And this was in August, right? And I said Metaverse land. I took all the money and I started buying Metaverse land. So my Metaverse land positions were fat going into that. But then I bought the token. I aped into Sandbox's token and Decentraland's token right after Facebook changed their name. And I sold it for 50% and it went 7x. And if I had held it for 7x, I'd be on the Reddit fire forum, like, what do I do now with my life? But I sold it 50%.
What a
I sold it for 50% because we were going. I sold it. Yeah, I sold it basically like halfway through that first spike. Right there. Yeah, I sold it right fucking there, dude. Huge position. I had a huge position because we were going to the park. We're taking the family to park, and I was like, I don't want to stress about it. I want to get out now.
Park got you. Oh man.
Yeah. Yeah. No, dude, it was fucking good time to be alive, man.
That was a really good time to be alive. Like, I'm still trying to get that same high. I'm like a musician at retire, just looking for the same. We're all like that. We're all just looking for the same high. Which
Jason,
doesn't
like, what's that? What's God, the guy, he's an alcoholic, and then he's singing.
Oh, the Lady Gaga. The Lady Gaga. The Star Is Born.
Yeah, that's who we are. We're that guy. Yeah. You know what I mean?
He has a really bad ending, Kicks.
Trying to catch that
really bad ending.
I know. Yeah. But then don't do the ending. The ending's not worth it, guys.
Don't do that ending.
But 2028, I think Metaverse can make a comeback.
Yeah, there you go. You still have your sand position. Just hold it now. Buy
hold everything. I think I have like 3 sandbox lands left. I got out good on the land. I mean, look, like, hey, where I sold halfway through that thing, where's the price now?
Yeah.
Still up probably.
Yeah.
Where I sold 4 billion. What's it at now? 5. Yeah, so 90% drawdown.
Yep. That will
So it's actually a 99% drawdown from the top.
Crazy.
Probably.
Yeah, crazy. Like when you zoom out, how small and inconsequential this price action is. Wild. Anyway, that's gonna about do it for our show. Before we head out, just want to shout out our sponsor one last time, Stream. Stream is an Animoca incubated project. You've heard us say this enough. You can participate in the game room through the link in the Twitter Spaces and the YouTube comments. We're running these throughout the show. We'll be running them all week. Participate. You earn points. They're going to be used for future rewards coming from an Animoca incubated team. You can only imagine what that means. I'm going to do one last stream drop here as we're kind of sending everybody off. I'm going to do a little bit of whack-a-mole one more time. I'm going to go 10 for 10 here. What do you guys think? What are the odds? Give me live PolyMarket odds. I don't think I've done it once yet. 1. So while there is only whack-a-mole and trivia right now, there are more modes coming that's going to add a bit of creator and audience interaction. We'll be able to do some cool giveaways and some other things like that with Stream Drop. Make sure that you participate. I just nailed a perfect 10 out of 10. I'm earning my points. I'm going to get my rewards.
You need to get that DPI up on your mouse. Yeah,
I really do. I got to adjust it a little bit. But that's going to do it for us. You can listen to the show Monday through Friday. You can listen to us on all major podcast platforms, Apple, Spotify, etc. You can rewatch on YouTube to get video content. But that's about it for the day. Thank you for joining us and have a great day.